Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So it has been time for you to fill the UPSC preliminary examination application form 2025. So what has happened here is that there has been a change of the content of your application form, as you all would have known. So whatever was required to be filled for after the prelims examination, like for the mains examination and before the interview, that has been formed part of the initial application itself. So you have more components to fill, and therefore I know there is a lot of hue and cry, and there is a lot of confusion with respect to how to fill and what to fill and what not to fill, etc. Because now if you give something, it has to be staying there for eternity. So you need to be careful while filling. At the same time, you need to fill it within the given time also. So I'll just brief you about the few things which are important. Like, I wouldn't tell you to how to fill your any basic details and your personal information, etc. That anybody can do. But I have discussed in the previous video also, but again I'll mention a few things like there is a component for prizes, medals, and scholarships. So you can give what are the best of all things that you have achieved in the span of your school, your college days, or as far as you have worked somewhere. So anything, like you have been the best performer at work, you have been the best student in school, or you would have won some important scholarship for your studies, or you could have won some state level competitions in the cultural programs, etc. So whatever it is, you have to pick and choose what is most essential. You can like filter out just 3 to 4 or maximum 5 of these achievements. So so one thing I'll tell you, anywhere, if you are not comfortable in writing, and there are people who feel like they don't have something specific to mention, as much as to mention, etc. So in that case, you can leave your space blank. That is not compulsory for you to fill. It is a optional thing which you can fill as now. But I would encourage you that if you have some sort of an achievement which can be mentioned, please do mention, because sometimes you will get questions regarding it and you'll be comfortable answering them. And at the same time, it's not mandatory that they will ask questions from these areas also. And like, I don't think they asked regarding anything I mentioned in the prizes, medal, scholarship area. They asked me regarding my hobby, but then so it's a very optional thing. If you don't have anything to fill, that's also completely fine. But if you can think and remember anything that can be brought to notice, that can be mentioned over here. Sports or NCC also you can mention. So if you're playing some sport, you will be very very strong in that area, so that can be mentioned. NCC also. So once you have given NCC as your achievement, or your activity during school time, then you have to understand what is NCC, regarding the history of NCC, what are the different types of certificates that students get credited during their completion of NCC certification. So there are different types of certificates, and how NCC has been functioning. There are a lot of debates on making NCC mandatory or things like that, whether it should be voluntary, mandatory, are these schemes helpful, etc. So you can learn and read more about it. Then you have positions of distinction leadership held in school and college. So if you have been a leader anywhere, you can definitely mention. Even if you were a leader of your batch, you can definitely mention that. Any sort of leadership quality is always appreciated. But here also, it's not mandatory that you fill it. Everybody can't be a leader at school or college. So that's very much reserved for few people. So you have to understand that where are the areas where you need to leave it blank also. Don't make up anything, because that will reduce your confidence during your interview stage. Indirectly or directly, it will affect your performance. So if you have something, please mention, because they did not ask me regarding my leadership also. So it's not compulsory that there is a question regarding it. Then there is a question on other extracurricular activities, interests such as hobby. So here you can mention your interest or hobby. So interest and hobby may not be the same. You might be interested in something, but you will not be like regularly doing it, or doing it on a daily basis, etc. Hobby, though, you have to do it on a regular basis, but then your interest can be different. So you can mention something like blogging, gardening, cooking, and watching films these days, TV series, a lot of OTT series people give as their thing, and book reading, and all or anything of your sort of interest or passion. Whatever you write has to be researched upon, has to be dig deeper into, because they're always interested in your hobby. So even in my case, they were interested. They made me write a blog then and there itself in the UPSC interview time. So if you have writing something, please be sure that you are passionate about it and you're reading, digging deeper into it. Even if you're mentioning a sport, what are the history related aspects of that sport? How is it being performed these days, etc. Please go into it. Then the next important component comes, that is your cadre preference you have to give. Whether you want to give your home state as your first preference, you can give yes or no. And then there are 5 zones, and you have to give your preferences across the zone and within the zone, etc. So whatever is your home state, maybe that will be your first preference, and that zone automatically becomes your first preference, and the second preference can be given to the next. In my and it's a very personal thing as to which is your interest area, which are the states in which you're comfortable. And in this case, I don't feel that you need a lot of opinions. Please don't go behind a lot of opinions. These days, I know a lot of people will give you a lot of opinions, but then always come back to your own interest, where you will be comfortable in, what are your logistical and other family related requirements. Based on that, you can fill the cadre preference. Now, coming to the most important, that is the service hierarchy that you have to give, the order of preference for different services. So you have 21 services mentioned. So you have to give the preference. So for Indian Information Service, the service which I am part of, is a good service. So I have made a separate video regarding Indian Information Service. You can go back and read and learn more about it. So if you like the composition of this work, so as you know, Indian Information Service is a very diverse field. So if you like that component, please give it a preference between 1 to 5. You can give it anywhere between 1 to 5, because you will have other preferences also, but then it's a very good thing that you can place anywhere in between 1 to 5. So there were people who had asked me regarding how to give the preference, so that's why I tell you. So Indian Information Service. So here also, what I would say is that if you are interested in something, please don't go behind a lot of things as to what is a good service, what's a bad service, etc. What is the type of work that you're meant to do? That is the most important component. So if you don't like finances, if you don't like auditing, and you're going behind all the auditing services, you will struggle for life, because you never liked that aspect of playing with numbers. So if you're someone who likes that, definitely go for it. For example, if you are a chartered accountant who wants to write the examination, directly want to go for the audit and account service, please do that. But then if you're not interested in it, please don't force yourself to do that. So the first, there are services like Indian Administrative Service, as you all know, Indian Foreign Service, Indian Police Service. Audit and account service is with relation to auditing and accounting of various departments and various government bodies, etc. So it's purely related to audit and account. So your job will entirely be like that. There is not much of a diversity, I would say, but then if you like audit and accounts, definitely go for it. There is civil account service also. Civil accounts also related to accounts only. Then you have defense account service, again related to accounts, but only in the defense arena. So you will be posted in areas where there are defense establishments only. Then you have defense estate service, which is with relation to how the management of the different infrastructures and estates of the defense sector. That's also only restricted to the areas of defense establishments. Then there is Indian Information Service. I have told you and made a video regarding it. You can choose to place it. Indian Postal Service is related to the postal department, and it's also in a changing stage because of a lot of digitalization that's happening. Then there is Indian Post and Telecommunication Account and Finance Service. So it's also related to account and finance, but in the Post and Telecommunication department. Then you have Railway Protection Force Service. That is a uniformed service in the Railway Protection Force, RPF. IRF. Then you have Indian Railway Management Service, which is related to the management sector of the Indian Railway. So it's a huge service. But then there are restrictions, there are zonal restrictions also, where you will be placed, the type of work, it can be hectic at times. So you have to understand whether you like that type of a work also. Indian Revenue Service, Customs and Indirect Taxes, it's also changing a lot because of the digitalization also. I mean, the revenue service, income tax is changing because of the digitalization, and this automatic deductment of taxes and all of that. But the customs and indirect service is a little bit different because it's a uniformed service. Then you are in the customs area, in the airports, etc. So it's very different. So if you like uniform service in the customs sections, then you can choose IRS, C and IT. Then you have Indian Trade Service, that also has a different scope. So the please read more about the Indian Trade Service. So its component is also very unique. So if you like that kind of a work, you can definitely give it a higher preference. Then you have Armed Forces Headquarters Civil Service, that's a Group B service. So it's also related, restricted to the armed forces areas. Then you have DANIX Group B, DANIPS Group B. Then you have Pondix Group B and Pondips Group B. So these are restricted to few areas, like Pondicherry Civil Service is related to that area only. It's a powerful service in that area, but then if you want more diversity, if you want to travel more areas, then that is not possible here. Even DANIPS and DANIX, it's restricted to few areas only, especially the islands. So if you like it, please go for it, but otherwise I wouldn't tell you to give it a higher preference. So this is how, mostly these are the things where people would have a confusion. Other areas you can definitely fill it with your own effort and all the documents that you need to submit. But then this is what generally I feel a person should be understanding before they filling the form. Otherwise, if you have any queries with respect to any aspect, please get in touch with me. I'll be there to resolve it. So I hope you fill it on time and give your preferences based on good thought. So that's it for today. So if you have any queries, please let me know. So until the next video, it's a goodbye from me. Thank you so much.